Hi, welcome to Jackie's channel about nothing. My channel is exactly what it is, just about just random stuff, mostly about my dog. I'm unemployed and bored, so I said, well, may as well build my channel up. I had to open up a channel because apparently you have to have a channel in order to make comments on other channels. So what the heck. So I figured today I'll just do something simple, homemade pie crust. And okay, so I'm not a professional by any stretch. Don't take anything I say seriously here because I really don't know what I'm doing. Just a normal run-of-the-mill home cook. And yeah, so we start off with super cold butter, 12 tablespoons. I use unsalted. Some people use salted butter, but I think with unsalted you get to control how much actual salt you put in there. So I'd recommend using unsalted butter, 12 tablespoons. A third cup of Crisco or whatever fattening that you use, as long as it's a third cup. It's on the package here. This also has to be very cold. I don't know why. The recipe says so. Some people know why out there. I don't. You need 6 to 8 ounces of ice cold water. I measured out 8 ounces and then I added the ice in here. And a teaspoon of kosher salt. If you don't have kosher salt, you can use 3/4 tablespoon of regular table salt. But this, the crystals are thicker and I don't know, it just works better. And then 3 cups of regular all-purpose flour. Unbleached. Okay, so if you don't have a food processor, you can use a pastry cutter. I don't know where mine is. I lost it in the move. I moved about 1.5 years ago and I lost it somewhere. So fortunately, I still have the food processor to kind of combine everything. So we'll start off by putting the 3 cups of flour in the food processor. I can't see. This is my first video. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Oh, it would help if I had the blade. Good thing I know where that is. Very important. Put the blade in. Okay, so add your 3 cups of flour. Yes, it has to be exact. With cooking, it doesn't really have to be exact. You just kind of guesstimate. With baking, you should really measure it properly. Level that off. Now there's conversation out there as to whether you just scoop directly from the container, or if you scoop into the scoop. Apparently it has something to do with how the flour lays and it measures correctly, more correctly, if you scoop into the scoop. I don't know. This seems to be a a dispute amongst the masses as to what is technically correct. I don't know. I scoop it, just in case this is the more accurate way. Level that off. Alright. So we have our 3 cups of all-purpose flour in here. Okay. Now we need a teaspoon of kosher salt, or 3/4 of a teaspoon of table salt if you don't have kosher. Is it this side? Now you can see a little bit better now. Okay, so the salt is in here. I'm a fan of clean as you go. Sometimes I don't follow my own rule, but whatever. So, okay, now we take the cold butter and the cold Crisco, and I chop it up into little pieces. I don't know that you really have to, because that's what the processor is for, but I don't know. Preference. So 12 tablespoons of unsalted butter is just a stick and a half of butter. Oh wait. Gotta mix the salt and the flour. Pulse that. If you're not using a food processor, you could use a whisk to combine the salt and the flour. Yes, I wash my hands, don't worry. And then your third cup of Crisco, or any fattening really. It doesn't have to be Crisco. I just like the bricks. And they had them on sale at Aldi, so why not? If you're scooping from a cup or something, I found that it helps if you put saran wrap on here, then scoop the Crisco in there, and it's just easy cleanup. Like after you take the Crisco out, you just throw out the saran wrap. It's just, you don't have to like wash that grease, and you certainly don't want to put that down the drain. So there's that. But otherwise, you can just measure it right from the wrapper here. I don't know if you can hear the Christmas music in the background. I have Andy Williams is like one of my favorite CDs. I like the old time stuff, Manhattan Transfer, Carpenters, and then the Chipmunks album. If you like that nostalgic stuff, I do. That was one of my favorite albums as a kid. I still listen to it as a 42-year-old, so no shame. Okay, so if you're using a pastry blender, just work it all in until you get like pea-sized chunks of dough, and then you're going to add the water. But for the food processor, we just kind of slowly add everything in there while pulsing the thing. So just add a few pats of butter, pulse it, and just keep doing that. Did I put? Yeah, I did put the salt in. And then put Crisco in there. I keep saying Crisco, but you know what I mean. Just put the fat in there. And if there's any professional cooks that, for whatever reason, you just happen to watch this random video from some random girl who's bored, I know I may be doing something wrong. Whatever. I'm not going to pretend I care too much. But, yeah. So I apologize if I'm not doing anything right, but being a home cook isn't always about being right. It's just having fun, making stuff from scratch, and I don't know. I just prefer from scratch, that's all. Except when I make apple pie cookies. For whatever reason, my crust doesn't come out like super smooth like the store-bought stuff does. So when I make apple pie cookies, which may be another video, I use the store-bought stuff. Whatever. Alright, so we're going to pulse this about 10 times. Okay, now the bottom here is like, it's accumulating flour, so I'm just going to take a spatula and just toss it a little bit because the butter isn't getting mixed in over there. So I'm just going to just kind of scoop around here, and on the bottom, just kind of toss that up a little bit. So that way the butter and the fat get mixed in with all the flour here. There we go. riveting? You must be bored too. All right. That's good. Pulse it a few more times. All right. So what you have here kind of looks like cornmeal. So I don't know if you can see that. That's what it looks like. So kind of like little, I don't know, whatever. That's what it looks like. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to add 6 to 8 tablespoons of ice water. And you just pour it in as this thing is turning. I think I always use the 8 tablespoons. The recipe calls for 6 to 8, but I always use 8. I found that if I use a little bit less, it doesn't hold together at all. But really, my dough kind of does that anyway, so whatever. Yeah, half my video is me saying whatever. Alright, so here we go. We're going to put this on low, let it turn, and then slowly put in your water. Oh, that worked out great. Alright, let's find something that actually pours. You can hear it slowing down. Alright. Now, this is what I was talking about before. This happens the same thing happens here with the bottom. As you can see, all the flour is built over here and it's not being incorporated with the water. So we're just going to toss that a little bit to mix that up. Using a smaller spatula might help. This is a little thick. You want to get something that really gets in there. There we go. Just going to bring the flour that was all like caked at the bottom. We're just going to kind of toss it to the top here. So this all gets mixed in. Great. You could see before how everything is starting to kind of pinch together. They're like little pea-sized balls. There we go. All right. And then you just, I don't know, you kind of gauge it by eye to see like if it's ready or not. The dough will stick together easily between your fingers. If it's still crumbly, you're going to want to put more water in there. So we're going to put a little bit more in there. Put it on low. Add your water slowly. Okay. And this is what it looks like. So it's pretty sticky, but it rolled out nicely. There you go. There's still some flour at the bottom, but I'll bring that back to the top. Maybe not everybody's food processors do this. I don't know, but mine does. All the flour gets stuck at the bottom here. You kind of have to manually work it. There you go. That's good. So, next thing you do, this is pretty much the last step before rolling it out and cutting it. Rolling it out and baking it. You have to let it sit in the fridge for about a half hour. So at least a half hour. I guess that just helps everything come together. So get yourself some cling wrap, saran wrap, whatever. I got the fun red one. Target had it on sale, so I said, why not? You can do it as like just one big ball. I split it up into 2 different balls because one I use for a top crust, one I use for a bottom crust. Or you can split it up, you can portion it out however you want and then freeze whatever you're not going to bake. Just freeze it for later. Just make sure it's wrapped up really good because it'll get freezer burnt otherwise. So I'm going to split this up into 2 halves. Roughly. It doesn't, I don't know, split it up however you want. To me, it doesn't have to be perfect, just close. Yeah, that's what it looks like. You can see the parts are at the bottom are more crumbly than the parts at the top. I guess the water just didn't get down there. Whatever. I should just change the name of my channel to whatever. Well, it kind of is. Channel about nothing. Whatever. There we go. Alright, so since the bottom was more crumbly than the top, I'm just going to knead this a little bit more. Whether that's the right thing to do or not, I don't know. It's what I do. And you can just use a saran wrap to kind of lift up the crumbly stuff. Oh, my music switched. It's now playing the Nutcracker suite, another one of my favorites. And you can barely hear it, so whatever. I'm almost done here anyway. This may have needed more water. There we go. Well, there we go. There's a lot of Nutcracker suite versions out there. My favorite is the one, of course, from my childhood. More nostalgia, right? My grandparents' house used to have Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve dinner all the time. In Polish, it's Vigilia. And she would always play the Nutcracker suite. It's Mikhail Baryshnikov's version. So it's a ballet from like 1977 or something like that. But that was always a version that just stuck. And I've watched other versions. It was never that good to me. You know, I don't know if it's for nostalgia factors or if it just really is better than the others. But yeah, so that's playing now. Alright, so kind of in a ball here, and then I just cut it up into 2 little sections, and then I'll roll this into a ball. And then I flatten it out a little bit. I don't think you have to. For me, it just makes it easier when I'm going to be rolling it out that it starts off like as a patty as opposed to a ball. Okay. 1 patty. And then a second one. Almost there. If you're still around after 20 minutes of me yapping on about this, I congratulate you. I don't know how much better I'll get at this or how many more of these I'll do. But I have this theory that there are some YouTubers out there, that make a lot of money for doing nothing but causing drama. I don't get it. I don't know how you could do so little work and get paid so much for it. So my goal is to do as little as possible on my channel and see what happens. Will I have no fans? Will I have 3 fans? 30,000 at some point? I'm not banking on that. I'm not like an entertainer. I belong behind the scenes, which is why I do what I do for a living. Business analyst, systems analyst, IT stuff. You're really part of the making of. You're not actually out on stage, you know. That's not me. But whatever, I think it's fun, like, just to share, like, cooking and stuff like that, kind of cook together. It's just me and the dog here, so. What? She's staring at me like I'm crazy. And yes, I will get a shot of the dog before I sign off here. So what we're going to do is wrap up the dough tightly. You can see what I'm doing. There we go. Right. And then we're going to wrap up the other side. Remember when I was talking about cleaning up while going? Clearly. I didn't follow my own rule today. Whatever. Alright. There we go. So throw these in the fridge for at least a half hour and then roll them out as normal and bake at, like, I guess it depends what you're doing. Just follow the recipe. If you're blind baking, like for chocolate pie, I think it's like, I forgot, 425 or 425 degrees for 15 minutes or so. And then you have to, like, take I use parchment and, what are those things called? Pie weights. Put those in there for like 15 minutes and then take those out and then cook for like another 15 minutes. Total of about a half hour, I guess. I don't know. Find a recipe. I have it written down. I just don't have it committed to memory. So here we go. As promised, gotta get the shot of the dog here. Hi, Bonnie Bean. So thank you all for joining me, and I don't know, I guess I'm doing another video at some point, so thank you, and have a good day. Merry Christmas.